now marketing and costs, marketing costs and cost in general. So primarily marketing, there's an exception. The exception is you got a large fan base or you got a large customer base that love you, then marketing is inexpensive and it's all focused on making a compelling offering page, designing marvelous email messages to go to that list and raising money from them, or if it's social media, designing the right communication to bring them in. You can raise all the money that way for virtually free, except for the preparation costs in that lovely scenario. One company that I'm aware of did just that. This company, VidAngel, raised $10 million, their maximum, in 12 days live to investors. They did have a break of about 10 days because they had a problem, which they had to deal with the problem states, they had to solve that problem, and then they went live again. But they raised that money by simply emailing their 30,000 happiest customers. That's all they did. No advertising expense of any significance, few social media organic posts, beautiful offering page, and a well-pitched message. $10 million in 12 days live is a record to my knowledge, and more power to them. The more companies we see like that, they're super easy to do, of course. In the normal mode, where we don't have enough of a customer base or a fan base, the issuer, the company does not, then we need to build it from scratch, right? But you're really going to raise the majority of the money from reach out advertising in social media, drawing in investors. And it's all about targeting, tuning, testing, and adjusting. And of course, up front, making sure that what is being sold to these investors is appealing. So one of our primary role at the beginning of discussions with companies is to figure out what the company does. You know, obviously it has to be a great company and all those obvious things, but how are we going to make this appealing to the investors? What is it, what should it be? What should the offering be? So we can't tell our clients what they should be. We can tell them what won't work. We can tell them what will have appeal to the audiences that we market to. So we do that. So by helping in that manner, then you're doing an offering you should do, because I don't want you to do it at all if it's going to fail. And the messaging and targeting and so forth starts off, because we've thought about this a great deal, right? With appropriate test messages, test advertising, test targeting. And in month one, literally, you'll be spending $10,000 on advertising, just the advertising part. And so far, in every case, we've raised 3 to 5 times that much money in the first month, which is heinously inefficient, but not bad for the first month when we don't know what we're doing, right? So that's the way it works logistically and cost-wise for the marketing. So month 2 is better than month 1, right? And if we're lucky, it's really a lot better. If we're not, then it's better, and I'm recommending, and the agency is recommending, we bring in the agency. We manage them jointly with you. They're recommending that, we're recommending that maybe you double spend or treble the spend in month 2, depending on the efficiency we reached at the exit point from month 1, right? This stuff's adjustable at the drop of a hat, day by day, the spend level on social media. So that's the nature of the beast, and we're constantly looking for higher and higher efficiency. And then as we get to the point that the acceptable efficiency is reached, then we encourage you to spend a lot more money and raise a lot more money fast. But that won't happen in the first 2 months. It takes a lot of testing and tuning and adjusting. So marketing, advertising expense, we want to drive it as low as we possibly can, but you should assume, and there's another factor, which is once it starts to really work well and the efficiency is good, then when you step up the spend, the cost per investor goes up, because the channels we use, primarily Facebook, Instagram, they know they're doing well, and we've stepped up the spend to megabucks, so they jack up the price, right? The efficiency drops off some for that. So being impatient is expensive. Managing that, doing some things to try and game their system to give us the better rates again, which we do, helps. But the cost of raise, you should expect marketing, when it's all said and done, to be The lowest we've done is $3.30, 3.3%, right? On one, that's our lowest, but I wouldn't have you expecting that. I think you should expect 6%, 7%, maybe lower. We'll do our best to keep bringing that down, but that's the likely cost. It's the single biggest expense in your Reg A Plus offering with us, because we're not a broker dealer. We don't charge a commission, and our fees are very modest. Okay, so I'm inadvertently or deliberately selling you on my company, which isn't the whole reason we're here, is it, guys? But let's see, costs. Okay, now going over to costs, the rest of them too. The least expensive, assuming that you don't have a large captive audience to go to, let's assume that. The least expensive way to reach the point that the offering is qualified by the SEC and it's ready to go live and we're raising money is about $150,000. And that assumes a simple audit, okay? We can get it a little lower if we go looking for a less expensive attorney, but that includes everything, 150K, that's the least it can be. There are lots of things we can do to raise it that I don't recommend, but you know, you should assume that's the least expensive and have more money on hand just in case. And that assumes some prudent moves on your part, which I'll get into later, you know, mistakes to avoid. Then after that's happened, we're raising money, we'll be cash flow positive from the raise relatively soon, relatively quickly as we move forward, when the offering is structured properly such that you have a minimum raise, you don't have an escrow with any amount of money that you need to close first. And when you, because we're coaching you and the attorney is coaching you, when you write the offering document in such a way that you can use the proceeds to spend on the offering expenses. So in that context, then cash flow wise, it was the upfront money, unless we get really unlucky and have terrible investment returns for the first few months, in which cases there are other expenses, but it's not going to be terribly expensive, but they do exist. So I gave you the upfront cost. That's it. I reckon if you're doing a $12 million raise, that my guidance to you is that the cash cost is going to be about 12% plus warrants.